Welcome back. This is Fantastic Pains and How We Hide Them. I'm not Chris,
And I'm definitely not Karina.
but we're here together
As usual.
for more fun times and shenanigans. If this is your very first time joining us, welcome. This is our sibling duo podcast about, podcast and YouTube channel about life with chronic and invisible illnesses and conditions.
Mm-hmm. We cover both the emotional and the mental aspects of everything and
Yes.
the physicals, because I'm mental and she's emotional.
Hi. Like I said, we are siblings, so it gets silly here. We're kind of, if you've watched any of our shorts, go back and watch the one about us being the same person installed in two bodies, because that's about what it is here.
Yeah.
So it gets very silly. So I recommend that you watch on YouTube, but they can find us other places.
Yes.
Can they not?
Audible, Google Podcasts. What's the big one I always forget?
Amazon.
You forgot it too.
Wait.
Audible, Spotify.
Was the one you didn't mention just now.
And then Podbean and some of the smaller sites.
Yes.
We also, if you're here from TikTok, some of our videos are actually linked to the full episodes.
Yes.
So you can just watch the clip and then listen to the full episode.
Mm-hmm.
So check us out that way too.
Yes. Which is new, actually.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So, today, we're actually really excited because we came up with this episode like an hour ago.
On the fly.
Like we usually do. Because that's how it works around here. But before we can get into it, because I'm not even going to give you a sneak preview, because I'm excited and we're gonna jump through. But before we can do any of that, it is time for the weekly recap.
Check in.
Indeed. This week, we were sick.
You know what? If you think about it, it was really I feel like we should be more drained than we are.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't, somehow we weathered it well, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, we designated time to actually rest.
Yeah.
To the
That's
point
true.
where we had rest fatigue, which is when you've rested so much that you're like, I'm done. I'm done resting. I need to be better right now because otherwise I'm going to lose my mind.
Yep.
So today we're actually finally feeling better, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Which
way
is
better. Different
than it has been because up until this point, it's been death for like 3 days.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Where do we start? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll
Or do you
go
want me to
first.
go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Because yours leads into the topic better.
Okay.
Mine kind of touches on it, but
yeah.
Let's see. This week we did our work day.
Yep.
We got a lot done.
We did
actually
get a lot done. It was great.
We got a ton of shorts done. We got the episode mostly finished, so I didn't have to do anything all week.
Yeah.
It was great, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Like we were just hanging out and being goofy.
Yeah.
Fun times.
It was a lot of fun.
And everyone spam the chat. Say, "I love you, Randy." Everyone, do it now.
Right.
I want comments.
Meow. Right
After
now.
comments. He's our behind the scenes man.
Yes.
He does all the good things.
You get shorts because he is patient enough to sit there and pull them out from our episodes.
Yeah, no joke. Because we can't judge him as well as he can. He's got an eye for it, you know?
Well, and it's harder to listen to ourselves talk over and over again. I'm like, I already said this. I don't need to know this.
Yeah, and when you're editing, I have to watch it like 16 times.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It's fine. So we did that. Monday, I think Sophie stayed home.
Monday was holiday, so we had a long weekend.
We did. So I hung out with Sophie after we hung out.
Yeah.
So we got together on Monday.
Yeah.
And then I spent that night watching One Piece live action with Sophie. Yeah. Which was great. Turned out way better than I thought it would.
I need to watch One Piece now, apparently.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, it's good. It's good. I don't know. I feel like you have to know the source material though. They did a good job of adapting it, but I don't think it's
I meant
newbie
like
friendly.
I have to go watch the series first.
Oh yeah.
Isn't there like a ton of it though?
There's a thing though called One Pace, which takes out all the scenes that they show more than once and takes out all the filler.
That's so nice.
And it's sped up. Like there's no long unnecessary. It's like as close as to the manga as you can get.
So nice.
So you can
Where's
catch up.
that at?
I think you just look it up, onepace.com.
Cool.
Maybe.
I'm gonna have to look for that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And then I got to see my new pain management. This was our second visit, and it went amazing.
Yeah.
I even they remembered me, so we got the same nurse that does the check-in.
Oh, good.
And we were shooting the shit again. It was great. Awesome. Teasing her for not doing things the right way, and she was like, "Your blood pressure is really high. Maybe you should shut up." And I was like, "You're right."
Maybe you should shut up.
Maybe you should just stop. And then Natalie was in the room magically. And we had just the best conversation where we were talking, and she was like, so what? First, she's like, what were we supposed to do? And I was like, oh, you wanted to go over surgeries. She's like, oh, yeah, thank you for remembering. Went over all the surgeries. And by the end of it, she was like, wow, you've been through a lot. You're only 37. I was like, I know. It's crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think about it that way until other people do.
Oh, I know. It's so weird to me to think like when I'm seeing new providers or chiropractors or things, and I say something like, yeah, I've had both my hips repaired and one of my shoulders.
Yeah.
They look at me like, what? What?
Right.
And I'm like, no, that's normal.
Right. That's my life.
This is just normal things.
Yeah. Well, and I like the back surgery. She was like, whoa. And I was like, I know, it's fine.
Yeah. Whoa.
And then Jen and I listed everything off. It was great. I was noticing the difference in like the way I handle the appointments now.
Yeah.
Where it's more like I'm doing, like, I'm actually advocating for myself.
Yeah.
And Jen's not having to jump in and correct me.
Right.
Like I'm jumping in and correcting her on things now. It's like, oh no, actually we did this then. And she's like, oh yeah,
That's
great.
so huge. That's like an enormous change from being like, I need somebody else there because I freeze up.
Yeah.
And I get that because I did.
Oh yeah, no, it's hard not to. You're seeing the person who knows all about health and you know nothing.
Right.
I mean, that's the relationship they want.
Well, and then
the dichotomy.
Imposter syndrome about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it was great. So we talked, and then she said that she basically called me a professional patient, but in the nicest way.
Good way.
She said that it was nice that we remembered all the surgeries and that we're so pleasant and easy to work with. And she even said that I was like, I think this will be a good fit for my care team. And she's like, yeah, you have a really good care team right now, I think. And I would be happy to be a part of it. And I was like, bro,
that's huge.
And then we talked about like what I needed.
Yep.
And I was like, I was able to offer up that I needed to increase my dosage on things. And she was like, no, you're right. I'm going to let you take the lead on your care and let me know what you need.
Yeah.
You've been doing this long enough and you're doing everything that you should.
Yeah.
So I'll let you guide me. And I was like,
yeah, because she was like, you're doing everything I would have told you to do.
Yeah.
So
everything. Because I did. I've done everything.
Yep.
Down to the mental health, which she was really worried about it in the beginning on the first interview. And I was like, no, I've got that covered.
Yeah.
And I do have my whole team. Almost. If I get the pharmacy fixed, then I'll have the perfect team. Until somebody moves in, then I have to find a new one. And,
right.
Life goes on. Then we got sick.
Yep.
Like, my Wednesday started feeling it. Thursday was really bad.
Yep.
And then Friday, we tried to do the live.
We got like an hour in and just fell apart.
And we started early, though.
Yeah.
Like, we could have, like, if we were normal, we would have been going for like 3 hours. We just did not. I was literally on the floor, curled up with my Squishmallow, and I was
Jen
like,
sitting here, like translating for him.
Yeah, I sent her messages like, oh, let Ruth know about my appointment.
Yeah. Yep.
That was good.
But yeah, no, we got really sick. It was not fun. And it was one of those, like, we didn't know we were sick.
Right.
Until we got in contact and we were like, I feel horrible. I took the day off because I feel horrible. Yep. And then you were like, no, wait, this is the same thing. You just described what we have and you described what I had. And it was one of those like, okay, all right, so I'm not crazy.
Well, even between
us,
not
just the eds.
If it was just us, we would still be like,
right, maybe it's MCAS,
pressure changes,
it's the weather,
right?
Yeah.
No, but then Jen was super sick, and the kids were sick, so I was like, no, it's legit.
It was gross. Like, yeah, Thursday was really bad. Thursday and Friday both. Like, I wound up sitting down in the shower. I could not stand to take a shower, and then I got here, and I was just like in and out, and in and out, and in and out, and
super botsy.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad. It was so bad. I did not enjoy that.
We should also mention that Iron Man over there had it for like an hour.
Yeah, I'm really upset about that. I found that out yesterday because
I think it's great.
He had a day last week. Yeah, it was probably the weekend. Yeah, it was the weekend. So he got us sick between Saturday and Monday.
Yeah.
Rude. Because yeah, he was like kind of pale and wasn't feeling great, and he was like, my neck hurts, my head hurts, and I just don't feel right, I don't feel good. And then he was fine later on, and then suddenly the both of us came down with death.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Rude.
Yeah, he taught it what to do.
Yeah.
He nurtures them so they don't mess with him. That's what it is. He gets sick and it's like, all right, guys, line up. Okay, you're about to go. You're going into 2 people. They are a mess.
You're going to need a map.
Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yes.
So he had it.
And even before that, it wasn't great. So Monday was great. We got stuff done. It was fantastic.
It was fun.
Tuesday, I just had a really poorly thought out interaction with admin that day, where they were trying to communicate something but did it in a really backwards, extremely hurtful and
not tactful.
No, not
at
all.
To say the least.
And went about it totally wrong.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where like I was messed up by this conversation. So I cried my whole way home. She let me go home early after this conversation and came over here because I was a disaster. Cried it out over here, went home, cried it out with my husband, talked to a coworker, helped kind of bring me back to some kind of like sense of reality. But that's how the week started. And then we got sick. I had 1 day of work. No, I had 2 days of work.
Yeah.
Because I started getting sick on Wednesday. Because I could tell, like, my guts were cramping. It was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
I did not feel good. Something was up. But, yeah. So it went from, like, really high emotional energy to being really ill.
Yeah. Where there's no energy to feel anything.
Yeah.
Anything but sick.
That was my week. It was exciting. It was fun.
Yeah. But that leads us into what we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
So because of that and the way you handled it, like the steps you took, outline like a really good example of what we're going to talk about.
So we are going to talk about like validation as a whole, and some different aspects there within.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's a really interesting one for us because validation is such a big part of how we process information.
Yeah.
Because we, like growing up, we learned not to trust our own
inner voice.
Yeah, our own input, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Our own take on things, our own view of things, our own thoughts on things, our own feelings on things. And so later on in life, validation became a really huge part of kind of reworking that really negative self-talk and second guessing everything that happens like within or without of us in general.
Right. Well, and it was an uphill battle because we dealt 8 years for me of no, I'm crazy. Mm-hmm. And my brain's like, no, they're right. Clearly this is me.
Yeah.
Right. Just invalidate my existence.
Exactly. And then punish ourselves because we couldn't handle life and everyone else was handling it, but we couldn't cut it.
Right.
Like, why were we so weak?
Oh my God, I hate it.
And then we learned that we were ill and everything was not just us being crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to kind of undo that mindset. But it took a ton of work and it still takes a lot of work.
We've made, even just the 2 years of the podcast, we've come really far.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But we've got some different avenues here. Where do you want to start?
Let's see. Maybe we just go through like your day, like what was going on, and we kind of break it down.
Yeah.
On the bad day.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So I don't know how specific I want to get.
I don't think you have to get specific at all. You had a bad interaction.
I had a really bad interaction that really brought into question a lot of what I'm doing as an educator and as like an advocate for my students.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a point of pride for you. Like,
yes.
You do good work, and for them to question or make you question what where you're coming from.
Well, and I think that was what made me so angry. It's one thing for them to question, even though there was no cause to question. This was like, I'm pissed off somebody on the outside of work, and they came back with nonsense to get me in the shit, I guess. But the person I was talking to couldn't see that.
Right.
And so it was just reflected on me and my performance, which is ridiculous because no one within the building has ever or would ever question my performance that way.
Right.
And so it just felt really helpless. And it felt just so unfair. And it was one of those like really triggering things where I just flashed back to being a child who nobody was listening to what I was actually saying. And people were putting words in my mouth, or like the story was being written even though I knew it was not that.
Right.
And it just feels so invalidating. It feels like you feel totally helpless to a story that's being told about you.
Yeah. It's those deep cuts when like you have that friend who knows that one thing you're insecure about.
Yeah.
And they like poke it and you're like, stop. That's not funny anymore.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
You're like that was for realsies. Could you not? Thank you. And so I don't even remember how it all started. I think I told you that I was leaving work early.
Yeah, you worked me up. I was already upset when you got here.
Yeah.
Because
I was like, I'm leaving work early. I had a really horrible time. I'm coming over. I'll be there soon. Because my phone is working on and off outside of any kind of Wi-Fi. And so I came over here and I cried the entire way here. And then I think I got here and I just burst into tears again because I was just so upset. And so I'm like half explaining what's going on and half just blubbering mess.
Well, you were processing verbally.
Yeah.
Like you were saying what it was, and then you were at the same time saying how you felt about it.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's really, really good as far as like processing goes.
Yeah.
I was like, she's on it.
Yeah.
This is for later on, but like my role in it was I felt helpless.
Yeah.
In a way, because I was like, there's nothing I could do other than be like, that's messed up.
Yeah.
But it was providing validation to so that you weren't questioning yourself.
Right. Exactly. It's one of those things where there's nothing to be done in those situations, but the validation is so vital in that moment because I was already feeling so deluded, maybe. Right. Like I was feeling like everything that I knew to be real wasn't.
Right. It's that knee-jerk reaction that we get. Anytime someone does that to me too, it's like I don't question just the thing, everything.
No, question everything.
Yeah,
like,
my whole life perspective.
Exactly. Like at my whole thought process about who I am and what I do. Right. And how I go about doing it and whether like my motivation for doing it, like all these things that I know, but came into question, and I was just feeling so incredibly lost as far as reality was concerned.
Well, and when you were describing it, like we were able to, and this is interesting too, is that Jen was in the room with us and she played a different role, which is really cute because we're going to talk about like roles and helping people through invalidation.
Yeah. So it was just a really icky situation that I needed to be able to process. Yeah. And I needed to be able to process it in multiple ways.
Like stages.
Yeah, exactly. But the validation was so vital in each different stage that I was able to kind of reach out to different support systems within my support system as a whole to help me process through that, get through the emotionality of it, feel better about it, and then be able to shift the perspective a little bit.
Right. You came to an understanding. Yeah. Like once you understood the like the whole situation. Right. What you weren't being invalidated anymore. Right. Right. Yeah. Like.
And at that point it was one of those like, well, and even if I am, fuck you.
Right. You had your feet back.
Fuck you.
You were able to stand up for yourself again. You were confident in what you perceived to be the situation. Right. So you could stand up for yourself.
Yeah. Well, and standing up for myself was an interesting thing because I didn't readdress the situation with the original person in the conflict. And it wasn't really a conflict. It was just a gross conversation. But I wasn't able to fully advocate for myself at the time. Right. Which left me feeling really frustrated. And like, I need to go back into this to be able to say my piece. But instead of doing that, Jackie, you're going to be proud of me again. Oh no. Damn it. My therapist is going to be proud of me because I wrote that person a letter on my phone that it's never going to be sent, and that's okay.
It's not meant to be sent.
Right. But it was a way for me to be able to be like, look, all of these things that you came at me with that I wasn't prepared to like refute at the time, here is the refute now, and this is what I know to be true, and what you said was stupid and ridiculous and invalidating, and there was no cause for it at all. Here's my like rebuttal to the situation, which helped me tremendously.
No, it was good. The first thing I said when you told me, I was like, oh, look at you using your coping skills you picked up.
Dang it.
Look at her being healthy.
Being all healthy and stuff. Ugh, gross. But yeah, no, the validation is and was key in helping me get through it and process through it.
Well, and the type of validation too, right? So like phase 1, you came here and we just dealt with the immediate feelings. Right. So like even I after you left, I was still processing. I was like, oh, I should have said this. I was doing the same thing, right? Like I was like, oh, I have all these points now.
Yeah.
But it's like I knew you'd be fine because you were going home, and then
and like the time has passed for saying whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, so I can reflect on that and absorb it and be like, okay, so next time around, maybe I'll tuck that tool away.
Right.
But yeah.
So like, how would you describe that? Like the first wave?
So the first wave was like you said, dealing with the immediate feelings, dealing with the moving away from logic, I guess.
Okay.
And letting the feelings be the feelings.
That's true.
Without trying to like validate or invalidate, right?
Right. I didn't try and logic you out of it.
Yeah.
We were there to feel the feels.
Right. Well, and I just was like, this is how I feel. And then being able to kind of pull out what specifically I was feeling was really helpful. Being able to like name what was going on. Which at that point it was just like, it feels really unfair. I feel violated, honestly, because no one's ever questioned my integrity like that, and there's no cause for it. And then I felt just like that violation goes down to that, like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And being able to process those feelings more fully without trying to explain in full what was like, what had happened or whatever, like what led up to it, or like trying to like remember what was what, but it was just about, this is what I'm feeling. It's awful. It sucks. And I'm going to cry through it and try to make sense of my world again.
Right. And it was my job to reinforce your sense of reality.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
which was
you're like,
so
this
helpful.
happened and this is how I feel. It's like, you legit, that is messed up. You should be feeling that way. Like,
right. Well, and then to help me with that, like, no, dude, that's not reality.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And you have a right to feel the way that you feel, but understand that that's not real.
Right.
That's not real. Somebody did that to you. That's not real. Which was super helpful because, like, at the time, my whole sense of reality was just in flux, and I was extremely confused. So the role that you played was really important, and then Jen did play a different role, and that was really helpful.
Jen did what she does.
Yeah.
It was sweet.
Jen played the silent, but here, physically, role, which was really nice, and was, like, able to come and give me a hug and just let me cry it out.
Yeah.
Without even saying anything, which is just so nice, because when you're trying to process and you feel so vulnerable anyway, you're like, what are the protocols here? Right. But then nothing was being asked of me, which was just so nice. So first wave, was just feeling the feeling.
Right.
Which can be really intense.
Right. Like, it was, dude, I almost started crying.
Yeah,
I
was
was
really upset.
It hurt me in the same way it hurt you. I was like, but that's like, how can you say that? How could you even think that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
It's
so
just
upsetting.
like the level of unfair where you're like, how is the world that unfair and nobody has noticed? Like, what's going on here?
Right.
Everything that should be is not, and everything that is shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was definitely the big first wave of processing all of that.
Yeah. At the time, did you know that it was a validation issue? Like, part of what you were feeling?
I knew part of it was, part of it, like, I think in my head it was more about like I needed to figure out what was real.
Yeah.
But that translated to like I needed validation in certain ways to help me like rebuild the walls of reality.
Yeah.
To tell me like, no, just because those words came out of someone else's mouth, that does not change reality.
Right.
Reality is reality. So I think, I don't know that I was searching for validation consciously.
Right.
But definitely in a like unconscious, I needed to fix it. I needed to pull it all back together. And validation was what helped me to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because I was not in a place where I could self-validate.
And I was trying to just be there.
Yeah.
Be present.
Yeah.
And not, I was really worried, like, just so like overanalyze myself all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it's happening and I'm like, I don't want to just be a yes man. Like, yes, you're absolutely right. You know what I mean? Like meaningless affirmation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I have to actually mean what I'm saying.
Right. Right.
And we were able to talk about things that, you know, it wasn't just, yeah, girl, you have it bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't the yes man.
Right. Well, and that's huge too, is like knowing when to validate and when to offer perspective.
Dude,
right.
It took me so long to learn that skill though. Yeah. Because I'm like Randy, where it's like, I can fix problem. I know problem. You have problem? I fix problem.
I fix problem. We can fix now.
Sophie hates me for it. Because I'm trying to instill habits into her brain. Mm-hmm. Like, that's an intrusive thought. I want her to be able to identify these things.
Right.
And I say it right at the time, and it frustrates her because she's in the middle of a sentence, and I'm trying to catch it as it's happening. Yeah. And she does this thing. She goes, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I know you know what I'm going to say, but I want you to have this skill.
Right. To be able to call it out as it's going on. Yeah. Because that's huge. Like, and that's how we build self-validation.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely an important thing. And I do it with my students all the time, where I'm like, oh, you've got a thing that you need to tell me and you're feeling really emotional about it. And they'll walk through it. But then they'll get to a point where it's like, we're bending reality here.
Right.
And I'll be like, I don't think that that's how that actually is. Or like, well, I think it's healthy to have these boundaries set up because this, and this.
Yeah.
But it's never like I'm going to fight you on it, or like, you're wrong.
No.
You're wrong. It's more like let me offer you some perspective here.
Exactly.
Let me shift the way that we're looking at it just a little bit to see if I can get you to think.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to think when you're like so emotionally wound up because all the thinky bits go bye-bye.
Yeah. But yeah, like the last thing on this part, like in phase 1 of the process, was on my end knowing that it was okay to not be able to solve the problem. Right. Like being okay with just being there and helping you talk through it. Yeah. Like I said before, younger me would have been like, oh, dude, oh, bruh, are you kidding me?
Let's go beat him up.
Yeah, let's go commit some crimes.
Who are we gonna go fight?
I'm gonna commit crimes now.
Crimes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, it's knowing when to offer validation and being okay with. Yeah. That's what you can do for the person. Right. Like Jen just sat there and listened. Yeah. She took it all in, and then she was able to give you comfort. Like, that was really big on her part. Well, I was really impressed.
And that kind of comfort is so meaningful because it's comfort that's not asking anything of me.
Exactly, yeah.
Whereas a lot of the time I'm resistant to being comforted because I always feel like, they just want me to feel better, so I'm gonna button it all back up and be like, haha, you did it.
There's that. I'm doing this now. Good job. Why aren't you better?
Yeah.
I hate that. I get that.
Yeah. But like within my support system, I don't feel like I'm being asked to
no performing.
Change. Exactly. I'm not being asked to change the way that I'm processing. I'm being allowed to process how I need to process, which is enormous and like huge. It's just huge. And it's huge to be able to like work through the process in this kind of linear sense. Yeah. Using different resources. And God help me, it took a lot of practice. a lot of practice to be able to do any of that.
I'll tell you right now, what you would have done and what I would have done is shut down.
Yep.
Like the instant that it hit hard when it was you're not who you think you are in life. Done. I'm done. I'm not okay. Yeah. You're right. I'm gone.
Yep.
And then it's the runaway brain where it's like,
oh God,
just gonna find a new job, I guess.
Yep.
That's
I'm
it.
gonna run away from home. I'm gonna go drive my car to a bridge.
Right.
Maybe off of it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, no, it would have turned into shut down runaway brain.
Right.
100%. But yeah, it's different when you recognize that what you need is to feel it first and think after.
Right. That should be a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Feel it first.
Think after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. We're so used to not comforting ourselves, but being like, you're feeling that way for a stupid reason and you need to stop.
Right.
Because we do it to ourselves all the time where we're like, calm down. It's not that deep. You're fine.
Right.
And then you logic your feelings away.
Exactly.
And then you're like, oh, why am I struggling with my feelings all the time? Because I'm not feeling them. I'm making them go away. Putting it in a box and smooshing it all together and hoping it doesn't explode.
Right.
But yeah, now it's very different to be able to like follow this process in kind of a natural way too.
Yeah.
Without thinking
you didn't plan this out. You weren't like, here's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
It just happened. You're like, I'm gonna go over there.
Yep.
I'm gonna go home. And then after that, you were able to reach out again, right?
Right. Yeah. So I came over here because you and I can like talk it out, and I need that feedback.
Yeah.
And then I went home and I just like cried and screamed in my kitchen while my poor husband stared at me and was like, "I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Oh." And his instinct is like yours. He wants to fix it.
Yeah.
And so he does a really good job now of just kind of like letting me let it all out.
It's so awkward when it's like
yeah,
all you want is to make that person feel better,
right?
And the way to do that is to do nothing,
right?
It's so counterintuitive,
right? Well, and then you feel bad for doing nothing,
right? Exactly.
Like, you're like, am I even helping?
After you left, I was like, what the fuck? Why didn't you do anything? It's like, you're fine. I literally had to go upstairs, lay down, and be like, it's fine. In my head, I was like, she's gonna go home to Randy. He has more context for what's going on.
Yeah.
And then you'll move forward.
Yeah. Well, and that's it, is like remembering that forward is what you're doing. Like you're never stagnant for real.
Right.
You're going to be in that moment, and that moment's going to suck. And then it'll not be that moment anymore.
Right.
And I even remember saying, like, Jen was like, I'm sorry on my way out. And I was like, it's okay. And then I turned around and I was like, it's not okay, but it will be.
Right. Perfect.
It's not okay, but it's gonna be. It'll be okay later.
Yeah. And then she kicked my pumpkin.
I did no such thing.
Sorry, I imagined you being angry and stomping on it. Yeah, our pumpkin plant. Check the Discord. I keep posting updates.
Oh my God.
It's over the sidewalk, and the pumpkin plants are like the pumpkins are coming in the fruit.
They're like this big already. The big one.
Yeah,
it's like that big. He's a big boy. But yeah.
Okay, so then let's do the next step, and then we'll take a break after.
Okay. So next step, are we down to perspective?
Is that what Randy offered you? Like
no, so for Randy, mostly it was like I gave him context. I was able to cry and be. It was interesting because here I was able to like feel the feels, right?
Yeah.
Went home and I felt the anger about the feels.
You let yourself be angry though.
Yes. And lived in the it's not fair for a little while. And then he and I kind of split ways, and I went and just kind of cooled off.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm going to watch TikTok and self-soothe for a bit.
Jackie would be so proud of you right now.
I know.
I mean, I'm legit impressed.
No.
Like you let yourself be angry.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I was pissed, and I kept saying, I'm so pissed. Like, I'm just angry, and I don't know what to do about it. I'm angry, and I'm mad. And then I wrote the note, and that helped. And anytime something popped up in my head that was like, oh, you didn't say this, but blah, 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 I went back to the note. So instead of like riling myself back up again, I would just take it and put it into the note.
That's great.
And that helped tremendously. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I never would have thought of using that. Because in my head before it was like, why bother like telling people how you feel because they don't care.
Right.
Right. And then it was like, it's not about them caring. It's about you being able to say what you needed to say because you didn't get to say it because you were ambushed.
Right.
So yeah, using the note was huge, and just having my husband's, because he's a quiet presence, and he will offer me physical affection.
Yeah.
And he's like, is there anything I can do? Do you want anything? And I'm like, no, I think I'm okay. And then I went and I turned off for a little while. And then there was one last step, but I think we'll get into it afterwards.
Yeah, and then we can contextualize it in my experience.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are going to take a break, and you are going to take a break. Hopefully, maybe, perhaps, or plan a break.
Huh? Oh, I hate that button.
Huh?
Oh.
Sorry.
Join the lives. You'll understand what I'm talking about.
Oh, terrible. But yes. What do they need to do on break?
Let's see. Maybe you should try hydrating.
And, take your meds. Do that.
Do not push it off. My alarm goes off.
Don't be me.
I have a thing now that yells at me. And right now, there's a middle dose. There's nothing in it. And it just screams at Jen because I don't need to go up there and get anything. And I just let that puppy sit. And she was mad.
You can't turn it off for the middle one?
No, I'd have to change it to a 2-day cycle.
Oh.
2 a day. So it's there because I'm going to have those meds soon to put in there. But yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, take your meds.
Please.
Don't be like us.
And then take a break if you need one. If you're in the middle of something and you need to take a breather, take a small break.
Do that. Yeah. Take a break and reset, because guess what? If you are of the Potsy persuasion, your poor little nervous system cannot regulate. So you gotta help it regulate just a little bit, okay? Also have a snack because you deserve it, and you are a snack. So there. We're gonna go do some of those things and maybe, find some sunlight.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and do something nice for yourself.
Yes.
And then we have to do the bipolar check.
Yes, bipolar check, friends.
If you don't know and you're new, I'm bipolar, and a lot of our followers are bipolar.
Yeah.
And we're the bipolar nation. And what we're going to do now is check in and see if we're feeling manic, because that would explain a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You don't notice it. So again, get to know yourself better.
Are you feeling manic?
I sure was.
You had way too much energy lately. Are you sleeping at all?
Or are you really down on life and it makes no sense?
Yeah.
That also happens.
Could be. You never know. But yeah, check in with yourself. See where you're at in life. It's always a good thing to do. All right, friends. We're going to do some of those stuffs.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, hi. Do you like Fantastic Pains? Would you like to see more of the Fantastic Pains podcasting crew? If so, you should join our Patreon. The Patreon, as we like to call it, is the new home of our behind-the-scenes content, full uncut recording sessions, our short-form videos such as TikToks and YouTube Shorts, and our past live streams. You can also find some Patreon exclusive content such as our new music reviews, lost episodes, and is the new home of our Mini Voices series, all of which can be found in our higher tier dubbed The Only Pains. The Patreon is the best way to support the podcast, so whether you want to see more of us or just want to help us grow, feel free to sign up following the link in the description below, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome back. How was your break? Mine was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's actually really nice outside.
It is. It wasn't too hot. It was kind of nice. How are you guys? Did you do some of the things?
Hopefully.
Snack.
Or you'll get to them.
You are snack. Eat snack. Sherbert says eat a snack.
You gotta listen to Sherbert.
But don't listen to Greg. Greg is a problem.
Greg, no, not Greg.
Sherbert, control him.
Control your bro. All right, so we're gonna finish off the last part of her story, and then we're gonna talk about how it applies to what I went through.
Yeah. And
then how you can use it, kind of.
Yeah. Well, and like the processes and learning how to look for different perspective.
Exactly.
Which is gonna be good. So we talked about kind of the first and second waves of how I was processing what I was feeling.
Yeah.
So first wave is to feel your feels, bro. feel your feels, bro. Second step was to be angry. Like, I let myself be angry. And my poor husband just was like, I'm sorry. Are you okay? What can I do? I was just like, I'm mad. Give me a hug, but I'm mad.
Give me the maddest hug you got.
Give me a mad hug. Rawr. And then from there, it was a lot of like bringing myself back down, kind of self-regulating that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then was able to reach out to a coworker of mine who I trust and who really has a good understanding and respect for what it is like to live chronically ill.
Yeah.
And so I very much trust her takes on things and her opinions on things. And so I was able to reach out and talk to her and was like, here's what's going on. Here's what I'm feeling. And what I adore about this woman, she's able to validate while offering bits of like different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Which was really, really helpful because it wasn't like, oh, well, that's not how that is and you shouldn't be thinking about it this way. It was just like have you thought about blank? Or I'm like, it was just so well done. Like,
yeah,
there's a reason that she's going to school for her counseling license.
Right.
I just want to find what she said real quick. Sorry.
In the meantime.
Yeah. And then was able to like joke with me and bring me back down, which was really, really nice. And like really validated the anger and really validated what was going on with me.
Think about that. She was able to keep everything you'd done, all the steps that you did up to her. She's like, that's legit.
Yes.
You did good.
There was no like.
But have you thought about this?
Yeah, very much.
And like, oh, it's amazing.
Right. Well, and it was just like, I really do understand. You're not dumping on me. I'm sorry that you're hurting. I wish I could help more. And then there was one thing that she said that really kind of shook my world and released like a whole new wave of just what I didn't know was coming was grief. Because throughout all of this, I'm still grieving the idea that my work suffers because I'm chronically ill. And she was able to just say, I hear how defeated you're feeling.
Yeah.
And I melted down, just melted. I was so upset. And I was like, I just don't know what's real. I want to do my job and I want to go home and I'm not sure like what's going on anymore. But she just did a really wonderful job of being this like calm in the storm, being this really steady influence.
Yeah. While
offering me different tidbits of like maybe turn it and look at it differently, right. Which is really what we need when we're looking for like different perspective. And I reached out kind of looking for perspective because I was like, I don't know what's real. I need somebody who I can trust to be able to analyze this differently, right? Because I can't.
Well, she has more context than everyone else so far. Like, right. she understands what happened, who the players are.
Yeah, exactly.
And she was able to break it down though. I mean,
yeah, which was just so helpful. And then by the end was joking with me and making me laugh and was just very skillful in the whole thing of offering validation, offering a sympathetic ear, giving me like some small prompts to just kind of look at it differently,
yeah,
or things to consider that I hadn't, and then was really just respectful of the grief that I was feeling.
I feel like she did it in a way where it wasn't like she had an end in
right.
mind. She was presenting them as if, have you thought about it this way? Not like I'm trying to get you to a goal.
Leading me anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
These were just like, oh, well, have you? I love that.
Yeah,
that's a skill.
So helpful. And so while I was talking to her, I was still working on my note in between, and that kind of back and forth, I was able to deal with the anger that I was feeling and validate the grief that I was feeling while still being like, okay, that's a future thing and we don't know what's going to happen. So we need to bring that part back in a little bit so that we can focus on what's happening right here, right now. Because there's always going to be part of me that's worrying about, I don't know how to put it, like the progressive nature of being ill, right? Like losing more and more aspects of functionality, I guess. And while I'm not tracking that, I have noticed a difference, right? Like I've had to put in accommodations just to be able to like make it through the week.
Right.
And so I'm seeing that slow like decline, which can be really scary and can trigger all kinds of like future thinking panic.
Right.
For things that aren't yet real.
Right.
And might
exactly.
never be.
And they might not be right.
Right.
I mean, if we think about like the next generation, her TNG.
Yeah.
Like in April, we were both like, dude, this is the new forever.
Yeah.
So we were trying to like figure out how to accommodate, how to work with it.
Yeah. Because it
was constant almost.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. For more than a month. It was probably like 8 weeks of agony that just slowly got worse and worse and worse. And then was almost constant every moment.
Right. But we at the time we were both worried that it was just going to keep progressing in the negative.
Yeah.
But I mean, here we are today where you get Evan occasionally, but it's not as bad.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
Right.
Not nearly as bad as what it had been in April and May. Like I didn't think I was going to be able to work at all at that point because I was in so much pain all the time.
Yeah.
And I felt like no one was helping me.
Well, and I went from bedbound to like functioning.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think that would be a thing.
Right.
I wasn't like
4 years ago is very different.
I wasn't forfeiting. Like I wasn't like, oh, I'm stuck in bed forever. It just I built it into like my daily functioning is that this is what I'm capable of doing right now.
Right. Right.
And then you want to be like, oh God, it's gonna be so much worse though in the future.
Right.
But here I am.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the thing, and that's why we say like it gets different. We don't know which way it's gonna go, and we try to keep morality out of it as much as possible because when we think of like symptoms as bad
or diagnoses as bad.
Yeah.
Like I had to grapple with bipolar 1 or bipolar 2 as a diagnosis. Like I was like, oh, I'm bad. I'm a bad person.
Mental health is really hard because there is so much stigma around it.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I watched my husband go through the same thing, trying to like come to terms with a diagnosis that you had been taught was like a weakness.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was a very different experience. And once I was done talking with her, because at one point I was ready to back out and I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm dumping all of this on you. Right. I feel like I'm just like trauma dumping and not having a conversation. Like I feel like I'm imposing on your day after work. And she was able to come like bring it back to center and be like, no dude, I care about you and I want good things for you.
Great.
So yeah, that was super helpful, but we have these different people for different roles, right?
Well, and they kind of just assumed themselves like,
yeah, and if we pay attention then we can learn,
right? You can
who's the best person to go to for which
what?
problem.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you navigated it perfectly, I think. Yeah. Like the proper order for all of it.
Yeah. No,
like,
that was, and it feels more natural now. Like the more it's practiced and the more work I do with like therapy and coping skills and not holding it all in and then having a 6-month mental breakdown.
Right. No, it's nothing like last year. That's for sure. Oh my God.
Oh God.
But like even in that, think about it. In like a few hours after school, you went from like one extreme, like run away, everything's horrible brain.
Yeah.
Like how am I gonna live on the streets? Where am I? What box am I gonna live in? Under what pet? Like, it's like oh my God.
Yeah.
To like, okay, I understand the situation.
Right.
And you wrote out everything, so you had the release. You got to feel your anger, and then you got the perspective you needed. Like
right.
It's perfect.
Right. Well, and it just helped me to kind of complete the picture and to zoom out, which is the hardest thing in the world to do when you're like, I have been hurt and I've been wronged and I've been treated poorly.
Yep.
And then your vision narrows to that feeling and the thing that made that feeling the thing, right? When in reality we can zoom out and see a bigger picture and be like, okay, so it's not malicious, it's just stupid.
Yeah. No, it was absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're saying, different roles for different people.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of intuit it, like when I have certain things like a bug Jen, or I'll even reach out to Austin sometimes if I'm like I'm having really bad bipolar swings, man, and
right.
like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But like, you know, and me and you talk, we check base at least like 3 times a week.
Right.
That's a week we didn't talk.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, nothing's going on.
Right.
No news is good news.
Right. Well, because that's the thing. Or we're like totally exhausted. And we then, like, Thursday comes and we reach out and we're like, how are you?
So
and the other's like, I'm dying also.
Yep.
I'm glad you are too. Not like
I
that.
took you down with me. Burn.
I'm not alone.
It puts the voodoo doll away. Yes, this is perfect.
Well done. Yeah. But building in that validation and allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to receive it.
Yes.
Is huge. It's huge. And you don't know how much you're missing until you are able to like put those pieces into action.
Yeah.
And have that full range of support.
Mm-hmm.
Because it took us a long time to get there.
Oh my God, dude.
I would never have reached out to this coworker ever.
Right.
Even like 6 months ago, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Never would have happened. But it takes a lot of work. It's a lot of internal work.
Well, and also think, I didn't have any like, if this happened before the podcast, I would have had like horrible anxiety, like up until we talked, and then afterwards I would have been a wreck. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because there wasn't a resolution. We were just like, it sucks. Yeah. And then I would have like focused on it and gotten myself all worked up. Yeah. I was able to just be within it and not have a meltdown. So
because there have been times where I'll like reach out with something that's triggering for you, and then you've got to tap out because you're like, now I'm triggered. Jen, help.
It's like, here you go. If I touch this, it's gonna blow up. Yep. I've done that several times. I'm like, Jen, I can't.
Help.
This is bad.
Help.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I could tackle anything at this point, though.
Yeah.
Like, I've got everything more on lock.
Yeah.
And the affirmations help. Like, working with Libby has been amazing. Yeah. Like, her and Anna, between them. It's like I get therapy when I see Anna, too. Yeah. Because she doesn't just like, oh, here your bills.
Which is so nice.
She's like, what's going on in your life? Yeah. Let's talk about that. How did that affect your EDS? How did that affect your bipolar? Like, it's just wonderful.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, you've built a really wonderful team who are really validating in general.
Oh, yeah. It's so weird because everyone gets no all the time. Yeah. We do. I've had to see so many different people to get this team kind of like put together.
Right. And they like scrape them together and you're like, that one and that one.
Yeah, I want to keep that one.
Hold on a second. I got to find one for this spot. Hold on. That one. Nope, not that one.
That was a bad one. We're not going to do
throw
that
one away.
Yeah.
Never speak of it again.
And it's not like we're just going for people who believe us. It's
right.
It's not like you're looking for validation.
Echo chamber.
Right. Right.
There's a difference between validation and an echo chamber for sure.
And we understand that. So like that's part of why talking with Natalie was so great is that she's like she kept using the word team. Like, seems like you got a good team together. Yeah. I'd like to be on your team. I'll let you take the lead on what's, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it wasn't I lost my train of thought completely.
Well, it wasn't like they weren't yes men.
Exactly.
And they also weren't like, okay, next.
Right. It wasn't, here's your prescription, go
away.
It was, what's going on? How do we do this? Yeah. How are you feeling? What do you think? It was great. Yeah. And I needed that. And I didn't know how bad I needed that. After the first visit, my entire mood changed for like the week.
I know. He was like through the roof. And he was like, we have to talk about it. So get over here now.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like,
and I was like, oh my God, was it bad?
No, I kept it a secret.
Bad? Was it really bad?
It was so good.
No, it was really good.
And it's one of those times I didn't know I needed that. Like I didn't know I was craving to someone to be like, you're actually in pain, bro.
Yes. Well, and to be like, well, no, duh, you're in pain.
Yeah.
Like that's an obvious consequence of what's happening in your body.
And she didn't question how I got there either. Yeah. There was she looked at the history and was like, that's a lot of stuff. You have a lot going on. Yeah. Let's take care of it.
Right.
And my brain was like, wait, people can do that?
Yeah. So a lot of the time you'll see people who like start over and assume you're at square one.
Yep.
Just because they're just now joining you.
Well, and I went into that room assuming that.
Yes.
I went in with every intention of starting with injections again and then trying RF ablations and then trying every other pain med until we get to the one that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it didn't go that way.
Right.
I was so pumped.
Yeah.
It was like healthy validation.
Yes, very. I think it's so important because there's still that like part of our brain that's looking for an authority to present us with that validation. And in medical, we view them as the authority, right?
Right.
Like, you are supposed to know more than me, help me. And to have them turn around and validate you without solicitation of that is just huge.
That's why it hurts so much more when you get invalidated. You're like, here's the authority telling me that I'm wrong.
Right.
Great.
Right.
And then
you're like, I'm gonna mansplain your own condition to you, but I'm gonna do it wrong.
That's happened to you and Ruth.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It happens to a lot of us.
Yeah, it's common.
Yeah.
But
that's why we tell you to doctor shop. Like,
Health
don't
for the lead,
ever
doctor
stop
shop.
looking for the appropriate care.
Don't look for the yes men, look for the team.
Yes, that
Find
is so
your team.
important. Because the thing is like, if you surround yourself with yes men, you're never gonna grow.
Right.
You are putting a fence, like a cage around yourself and making sure you can't outgrow that. Which is not it, guys. Like, we want that growth. We want to be challenged in some ways. We want to be asked to do things that we haven't yet. We want somebody who's going to ask questions. We want growth. We're not looking for stagnation.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's always been like the mantra, I guess. I never thought of it in that regard, but it is. I always look for people that are willing to try things.
Yes. And
not just be like, this is it.
It is what it is. Sucks to be you. Bummer.
Yeah, no.
Thanks, neurology.
Lastly, we should hit on what we were talking about in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was really important.
So explaining to our grandfather what the topic was for the day. And we kind of, how did we get there? Give me the run up, because you have better tracking than I do.
How did it happen? We were talking about how we're talking about validation.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I really like that. And we got on the subject of how our grandmother was really good at accepting compliments and being like
graceful about
it. Being like, yeah, oh, thank you so much. And he is like how we are.
Yeah.
And we're
like,
oh,
no,
stop. No, I am a monster. But that invalidates their opinion of you and kind of demeans them. It's not respectful. Right.
Well, and I've never thought about it that way, but that's very much kind of the dynamic with us in the Discord.
Yeah.
Because if you were to take that person's opinion and be like, you're wrong, not only are you not accepting that compliment and helping yourself to grow and be more comfortable, you're also invalidating them.
You're damaging the relationship and not even realizing it.
Exactly. And so it was way back in the beginning of the podcast, not like the very beginning, but we started to grow a little bit. And we came to this point where I was like, you know what? Just like how if 3 people at a party tell you you're drunk, you probably shouldn't drive. If 3 people at the party tell you you're wonderful, you should probably stop saying you're not.
Yeah. I mean, we've been saying that since then. Like, it's always something that you say. And I'm like, yeah, she's right. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%.
Right. Because I'm like, I've got to trust other people's opinions at some point.
Yeah.
And like, I trust these people in general, which helps to build that. Sorry, I got far away from what I was trying to say.
Validation.
Yeah.
It's a bitch.
But being able to, being able to like receive a compliment without trying to twist it or turn it or divert it or like bypass it.
Right.
In
Arguing
some way. Yeah. So now, because we have that mutual respect, and really, because it is a respect.
It's funny. It's disrespectful to do that to people.
Yeah.
But we were doing it in a sense of disrespecting ourselves.
Yes.
Without noticing that it has an effect, right? Yeah. And now we have the self-respect, so now we can be like, oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's a constant practice too. Which is also really wonderful. Like, if you can get friends like this, do it, where they're gonna challenge you on the things that you need help growing on. And a lot of that is that being kind to ourselves and accepting the compliments and seeing the good that we're producing.
Yeah.
And so to have somebody like Faye who hops in and is calls me her sunflower, which I would never, ever have accepted from anybody on planet Earth.
Right.
Like 2-3 years ago.
Mm-mm.
Never, ever. But yes, I will be your sunflower for as long as you want me to be. And I think you are our little sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's very different when you start to open up to different people's perspectives.
Right.
And not view your own perspective as truth, right? Because we only get to see a piece.
Yeah.
A piece at a time, and until we can zoom out and see the whole picture, whatever we're saying is coded in bias.
Right.
And that's not to say that what we are saying and thinking and feeling is wrong. It's not, because that's our experience.
Mm-hmm.
But there might be more to it on the other side of feeling the feelings and then getting to accept that new perspective.
Yeah.
And adopt what you've learned. Yeah.
I think that's it. You summarized it pretty well.
Oh, good.
That was
I'm
great.
So glad. So you're feeling happy?
Yeah.
You're liking it?
How do you feel?
I'm happy.
Like
I think
a
you did a
changed
good
woman.
job. Yeah. No, I think that's a big one, is like accepting.
I mean,
that
I
love
could
and
get into a
support.
whole bit another day about stop throwing me off.
Sorry.
Perspective and how affirmation plays a role with like how other people see the world and how they're very main character focused, like we were talking about earlier. I could get into that all day long, but
I do want you to tell me what you've learned about affirmation, because I've never done affirmations.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't done anything particular with affirmations. Jen has a bunch she does, and I do the ones that my grandfather got me. The like every day when you wake up, say to yourself that today is a new day.
Yeah.
And I am lucky to be here, basically.
Oh, I like that.
So you kind of respect the day and that you get to have it.
Yeah. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay. Because in my head, affirmations are like, I am strong, I am beautiful, I am capable.
They don't
in
have
the
to
mirror.
Literally anything that you can say about yourself positively that you wouldn't normally say to yourself.
Well, and it sounds like grounding in gratitude.
It is.
Is really
that's how I do it.
Where that sits, which makes perfect sense, because within our gratitude and our experience and other people being those support systems, there is a lot of gratitude for being able to process in those ways. Yeah. And being able to take on each problem as though it was the one and only, and then feel it and move on. So yeah, no, I like that a lot, to ground in gratitude. Yeah. For the day. That's awesome.
Yes. So let's say that lots of words that tried to come out at once. Stop it. Slow down.
I did that earlier.
I was gonna say, I was grateful that you came over, and when I was able to be a part of that, like, I don't know, it was hectic. Yeah. But I don't know, I enjoyed helping you.
Yeah. Well, I think
I'm selfish, and it wasn't about her. It was about me and how I felt about it.
There's a lot to it, because we've done therapy together for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
So being able to like see somebody actively using what we've learned, and so I imagine there's like a sense of pride.
Oh, for sure.
And then the gratitude of having somebody be able to rely on you and to be able to play a role in their experience.
I knew you'd get there.
Yeah.
I just threw some words out there, and she's like,
I just pick them up and put them in order.
Exactly.
It's like fridge magnets. I don't know if it's right. It's just there. Fridge magnets.
Fridge magnets.
Perfect. Well, then I think we are at the end. Yeah.
I mean, unless you guys want me to do like a 14-hour review of Dokkan and how it plays a role in Destiny 2, how the lore connects, and how if you don't have these weapons, they're not meta, and you're not good, and you're trash. I could talk 15. I made them connect.
Oh, okay. That makes much more sense.
I have a TED Talk.
There's a TED. Oh, God. Okay. I think it's time to say goodbye.
No, they want to hear about this. This is really good stuff. They're going to learn a lot.
We can save that for later. We'll make it a separate bit after we end the shoot.
She's like, we'll launch it on Wednesday at midnight when no one's going to be around. No one can see it.
We'll do it in a live.
Oh, no.
In like the weirdest part of the day. It'll be at 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah. But on that
note, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I hope that you were able to glean something from all the gobbledygook we've put forth today.
Yeah.
And if you enjoyed this or you found value in it, please like, share, subscribe, and drop us a comment, because we love to hear from you.
And join the
build
Discord.
the community. Yeah.
We forgot to mention the Discord at the beginning.
Oh.
I caught it, but
At least you got it.
yeah, the Discord. Wonderful people, great conversations, support.
Yes.
Or you can lurk and just see what's going on.
Right.
It's
and lots
relatable.
of ways to participate in the podcast as well.
Right.
So join us. We love to hear from you guys. We love getting to hear how we're kind of impacting the world around us,
right.
which is nice. Because we feel crazy most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting there. All right. Ah, jeez. I know. I just my body just dropped and my med just hit. Woohoo! Took it long enough, right? I just finished the podcast and now I'm like, oh, I'm comfortable.
Right.
Wow. But yes, my friends, thank you so much. We appreciate you all. Be kind to you, be kind to others, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Voice crack. Bye.
Vocal fry.
Bye. Bye.
He's gonna jump.
Stop it. No. My baby. Mama, I'm your baby.
You're adopted. Oh my god.
And the other one's like, you gay.
That's Nick.
You gay.
All right. Well,
time to take my meds.
She's gonna do the thing.
Yep.
She's gonna do it.
And then
we're gonna get
die.
evidence. This is gonna be
Ready?
proof, so you guys know she takes her meds.
After. Oh. No. One more. Sorry. They go under my tongue, so I don't have to taste them. And now they're gone.
There, she took her meds.